kick it live quite yet. Just make sure that's good. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. All right, we're ready. 1 minute and we'll get cranking. So I'm going to take us out. I'll kick the intro, kick it live on YouTube, and then we'll go.
All right, cool. And this
Here we
this
go.
is coming through my mic, right?
Yeah, you're coming through. Sound great.
Okay.
Look great.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
Welcome to the Desert Gridiron Gameplan, an epic coaches show talking all things Arizona high school football. And now, your hosts, James Poovey, Ed Cole, and Parker Garash. Take it away, gentlemen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you in for another edition of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan here on the Epic Sports Network. James Poovey coming to you alongside my broadcast partner, Mr. Parker Garash. Ed Cole, unfortunately not able to join us tonight, but Parker, we got a fantastic show tonight. We're going to talk about our Thursday Night Kickoff matchup, which features the Vista Grande Spartans hosting the Arizona College Prep Knights. A 4-1 against 4-1 game. It should be a knockdown, drag-out fight on Thursday night.
It is going to be very, very competitive between these two teams. Of course, you got ACP coming off the win against Yuma Catholic. And then for Vista Grande, they put up a ton of great numbers so far this year as well. Their latest win coming against Desert Sunrise, where they put up 70 points. We've seen some crazy scores in our high school football coverage this year, but that is nothing to shy away from. And I'm sure we'll get into them in just a little bit. But yeah, I'm super excited. It's going to be back and forth, it seems like both these teams on both sides of the ball are very, very well coached. It's going to be a good show tonight for sure.
It should be fun indeed. Let's get right to it. Let's bring on head coach Steve Vaught and linebacker Cam Mitchell joining us from the Arizona College Prep Knights. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time out. Coach, just break down the season so far. 4-1 to start out. You can only do a little bit better than that through 5 games. Just talk to us about the early portion of the season and how things are going there for the Knights.
Yeah, it's been a grind. We've had a tough schedule. We started our season out with a 6A opponent from Indiana as one of the top teams in Indiana, and they took it to us pretty good, but it was a good learning experience for us. And then, the last 3 games prior to this week, Straya Foothills and Eastmark and Yuma Catholic, all playoff quality level opponents. And so we're definitely battle tested at this point, and it doesn't get any easier this week because Vista Grande's a top 10 ranked team and very talented, and respect what Coach Roberts is doing over there. So, but we're definitely happy with where we're sitting at 4-1. But at the same time, we know we need to keep getting better day by day and week by week.
Coach, like you said, you played a top team from Indiana. Of course, that makes you guys undefeated in at least Arizona high school football play. With that loss, though, I'm sure that's not the way you guys wanted to go out. But how much did that game specifically help you and the coaching staff and honestly the roster to go out and play the way you guys have these last 4 weeks?
Yeah, it taught us a lot. It forced us to prepare at a 6A level, which is a high level. Our kids were able to pick up on some of the things that the Crown Point players did as far as their level of focus and intensity and those kind of things. And coaching wise, we were going up against a coach that's already been inducted in the Indiana High School Football Coaches Hall of Fame. So it was a challenge for our whole program, but we feel like it's something that made us stronger.
Coach, talk to us about your offense so far here in the young season, and specifically your quarterback, Evan Heinrich. He's had some magnificent games over the past few weeks. Talk about his importance to the Knights.
Yeah, Evan is vital for our offense because he's kind of the one making the decisions out on the field. He's important both in our run game and then obviously our passing game. Our offense is kind of fueled by our offensive line. They've done a great job in pass protection, given Evan time, and they've opened up run lanes for our running backs. But our kind of focus in the offseason was becoming more efficient in the pass game. So we wanted to continue the success because we threw for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns last year, but we wanted to be able to do that with less throws. So we wanted the run to kind of set up the pass. And we've kind of been able to do that thanks to the offensive line, as well as the decision-making of our quarterback, Evan Heinrich.
Coach, just doing the quick math, you guys have only allowed 57 points, and you've scored 187 through these last 4 weeks post week 1. We got, of course, one of your stud defensive players on with us right now. What has this defense been like, and what has it been like coaching this defense that seems to just suffocate opposing teams' offense week in and week out?
Yeah, our defensive coordinator, Cody Bartz, has done a great job getting the guys ready week by week. And right now, the strength of our defense is our ability to stop the run and our physicality, which Cam is a huge part of that. And we're still kind of a work in progress with some other parts of our defense, but our guys love to fly around and be physical. And Cam's kind of the leader for us in that category.
Coach, tell us a little bit more about the defense and a little bit more about Cam Mitchell, your star linebacker there for the Arizona College Prep Knights. As we take a little bit of look at his film here, we know that defense gets the job done. A lot of times offense sells tickets, but when it comes down to it, you got to have those stops on defense.
Yeah, Cam as a sophomore last year had over 100 tackles as a sophomore, which is a huge feat. And he didn't let that kind of give him a big head. He stayed very grounded in the offseason and worked his tail off, and he's just picked up where he left off last year in being physical in the run game, being a great communicator out there on the field. He does a great job blitzing and causing havoc in the backfield. So he's already amassed 43 tackles so far this year, and 10 of them have been for a loss. So that means he's getting his reads, and he's getting to where he needs to go very quickly. And so we're very pleased with what Cam's doing, both for himself and the way he contributes to the team. So he's doing an awesome job.
Cam, I've been very impressed with your film, just watching it here. It seems like you like to hit guys pretty freaking hard. How would you describe your play style, though, and just the way you've been able to kind of go out and dominate the way you have so far this year?
It comes from the coaching staff. They've taught me everything. Mainly, we just focus on reading our keys and flying around to the football. And then obviously getting off blocks is a big thing, because if you can't get off a block, you can't make a play. So we've been working a lot with that and just getting better and better day by day.
Cam, speaking of getting off of blocks, you got a really good offensive line. You guys have a prolific offense there at Arizona College Prep. How does going up against those guys in practice every day make you a better defensive player?
Oh, it's huge. With the amount of force they're applying to us and pressure the offense brings to us, it just helps us be more battle tested and just a better overall defense.
Cam, you guys are, it looks like, tied, or excuse me, one game apart with Arcadia in your guys' region, but of course you guys are ranked right now 23rd according to Max Preps in the state. With this hot start you guys have been on, what's been the biggest standing out point to you as far as how the team has played all together, or just how bonded you guys are in the locker room, or just what's kind of been the biggest thing that stood out to you?
Our mental preparation has gone a long way for us. It's helped us come closer as a team through the hard times of practices and especially overcoming adversity in games.
Cam, tell us about Coach Vaught and maybe the rest of the coaching staff as well. How have they been able to pour into you and make you a better football player? Because we know it's a team effort there for the Arizona College Prep Knights.
Yeah, especially with Coach Vaught and all the other coaches we've had coming from such a high level of football. like at Chandler, it's helped us become just a more efficient team because we're learning from a 6A level and applying that to our opponents we face right now.
Coach, without, of course, explaining and describing too much of your guys' game plan, you guys are going up against a very talented team, like you've talked about in Vista Grande. They've put up 70 points. I'm sure you saw it last game, 26, 53 to nothing. They beat Pueblo by as well this year. What's kind of been the preparation this week as far as heading into Thursday night's matchup?
Yeah, it's our second year. This is my second year at ACP, and the second time I've had an opportunity to help game plan for Vista Grande, and they're a very well coached team. That they have a lot of talented players, and so obviously, like you said, without sharing our thoughts on it, there's some things that we feel like that they do stronger than others, and so that's been kind of our focus in our preparation is finding our ways to attack and counterattack what they do really well as a team.
Coach, you took over for Myron Bluford. You mentioned this is your second season there at Arizona College Prep. Talk to us about the feeling and the attitude around Arizona College Prep football there over the last couple seasons. You guys have really turned this thing and headed it in the right direction. What's it like on campus when people talk about Arizona College Prep football? Are the students excited to go to the games? Just tell us about that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that has been a focus for us coming into this year is community and using our football program to kind of bring the whole school together. So last offseason, our players started going to the boys basketball games and boys volleyball games and baseball games and starting to support the other sports on campus. And that's been kind of reciprocated back to us. And now a lot of the other athletes on campus, as well as some of the students, are doing a better job of coming out to our games and cheering us on. So, that's been pretty cool to watch because ACP is a growing school. So it's exciting to be a part of a growing school and kind of a culture where now it's a very supportive environment on our campus.
Coach, who have been some other kids that have stepped up leadership-wise? Of course, you guys finished last year 8-4. And you're already at halfway that mark right now, sitting at 4-1 out of the first 5 weeks. But who have been some other kids outside of Cam that have really stepped up leadership-wise to really take control and help maybe some younger underclassmen that are on this varsity team?
Yeah, that's been a big area of where we've identified a need because a lot of our leaders last year were seniors that graduated. So Jesse Myrick, a defensive lineman for us at a defensive end, he's been a very vocal leader and does a great job in that department. And then we have a lot of guys that lead by example. So Cam's not always the loudest guy in the room, but he leads by example because of his consistent effort and intensity. David Martinez on defense is kind of the same way, and he has a good understanding of the defense and helping getting guys lined up. Offensively, Evan at quarterback does a great job of it. And then you got a guy like Ashton, he's very quiet, but again, a leader by example with his play. And then Lincoln Chapman, who's a receiver for us, also has been probably kind of the most vocal leader for our offense.
Cam, tell us a little bit more about the brotherhood there at Arizona College Prep. How bonded are you guys together? And then what do you guys like to do off the football field? Anyone can go look up the stats and the numbers and everything and see that you guys are rocking out this year. But what do you guys like to do when you're not practicing and you're not on the football field?
Video games.
Mainly, honestly, we've been trying to get out there more, get away from the screens. So we've been going to golfing a lot. That's helped strengthen our brotherhood. And then obviously just team hangouts, team bonding.
I like the golf rep. I mean, I was not able to get out at all this summer. It was too bloody hot. But with that, has that made you guys a bit closer? Of course, your coach said video games might be a big thing. And I know that, of course, video games with the boys, I don't think it gets any better than that. But being able to do stuff like James was saying outside of, being in the locker room studying film, how much has that helped you guys like with the off the field activities on the field?
It honestly helps a lot because you start developing a bond with your teammates. You can trust them more on the field as well. So I feel like it's becoming a key factor of just getting to know your teammates and bonding with them outside of football.
Coach, tell us a little bit more about your teammates and the rest of your coaching staff. We know that you can't do this by yourself, and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of work that oftentimes goes unseen by the fans and the families there at ACP. Talk to us about the rest of your staff.
Yeah, so our offensive coordinator is Robert Ortiz. It's his first year here at ACP, and obviously he has our offense rolling and is doing a phenomenal job. And then Cody Bartz is our defensive coordinator. This is his second year at ACP and first year in the role as defensive coordinator, obviously doing a great job. And then Coach Derek Wendell-Schaefer is our special teams coordinator. I've been very pleased with the performance of our special teams, and so he's doing a phenomenal job. Coach Rose at offensive line. Coach Dawson is our receivers coach. Coach Murdoch, who's been coaching for almost 40 years, who's Cam's inside linebacker coach. And then we have a first-year coach in Coach Bowers, coaching our Sams. He played at Chandler for Coach Murdoch and myself, and went on to play at Hawaii and ASU, and now he's getting into coaching, so it's pretty cool to have him out. Coach Liam Hadley, our corners coach. And then Coach Busso helps out with receivers as well, and Coach Horn, our running backs coach, who's been at ACP from the beginning in 2017, the first season. So, yeah, great group of coaches, and we really get along with each other, and we have a good time.
Guys, we are definitely looking forward to your game on Thursday night as you take it down to Casa Grande to battle the Vista Grande Spartans. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to join us here tonight on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. We look forward to seeing you on Thursday, and it should be an epic showdown for sure.
Appreciate
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. We'll be back with more of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan, and we will head down to Casa Grande ourselves to visit with Coach John Roberts and the Vista Grande Spartans when we return. Stay with us. We welcome you back to the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. James Poovey alongside my broadcast partner, Mr. Parker Garash. Coach John Roberts joining us now from Vista Grande, the home of the Spartans. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule. We're excited to come down there on Thursday for our first trip to Vista Grande. Just tell us about the young season, 4-1, starting off really well this time of the year, and you guys are heading into region play. You must be feeling pretty good at this point.
We do. We just have. It's been quite a journey for us and our program. We fought a little adversity to start the year. Lost one of our coaches and lost an athletic director. We rattled off 3 wins. We had a good program win for us. Went to California, played a really good program in St. Joseph's High School in Santa Maria, and won that one. Then we lost to Prescott with a really good coach group from Coach Collette up there. And we lost in the final 30 seconds of that game, too, by about 5 points. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with how the boys have been playing. And, we really are looking forward to this game this week.
Coach, you bring up that loss to Prescott. Of course, it was up north 31-26. Are you guys – I don't know if we can call it a statement win or just kind of put the state on notice type of win, winning 70-7 last week. What flipped in the locker room? Like you said, you guys lost in the last 30 seconds of that game to Prescott. to go out and play the way your team did the following week, it's pretty impressive. But yeah, what flipped with your guys and maybe the coaching staff to go out and play and win the way you guys did?
I think, to be honest with you, we're in a really blessed situation. We have two kids that can play quarterback. They just play it differently. And we had, for the first 3 games, we had Brendan Hunt. And then we have a kid by the name of Eltona Gant, who has been our Mr. Do-It-All. He's played a little wide receiver, played a little corner, played some tailback for us this season. He's basically been everything, but he really was a quarterback. Last year, he was a 5A Southern Offensive Player of the Year at Casa Grande Union. And so he ended up transferring and he got he had a hardship that got granted by the AIA. And that was a real blessing for us to have him come. But if you look at that final couple minutes in Prescott, we scored it was like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We scored 2 touchdowns in 4 minutes. And for us at a program, we're a run first type program. For us to be able to do that, that was the first time we've ever done anything like that. And so we started off, and when we played Desert Sunrise, and I'm not trying to give away too much strategy, but I think Eltona really forced Desert Sunrise to kind of be honest in the box and not just load a box and put a safety 20 yards deep. We actually started seeing some 2 high sets back there, and he really got everybody involved in the offense. And you started to see guys like TJ Ortega and our other wide receivers start to blossom. And it really helped out the running game with Fernando Moya and our other set of running backs.
Coach, you've also got a pretty special defense. We got one of those gentlemen joining us here as well. Athian Arol is one of your defensive ends there at Vista Grande. Tell us about this young man. We're going to take a look at a little bit of his film here, and he has been nothing short of dominant for the last couple seasons for the Spartans.
Athian, I'm extremely proud of him. You know, as a head coach, it's really, really nice to see a guy that you've seen since his freshman year develop. When I first got the head coaching job, we only had 13 kids in the entire program. They've only won, before I got there, 5 games in 5 years. And so when he came over, he had the opportunity to go to Union as well, but he selected us. And he's been on the varsity for the last 3 years. And so when I first got him, he was like 5'11", 265 pounds, and he's really grown into a hell of a player. You know, he's sitting about 6'4", 235, almost 240 pounds, and he's really explosive off the edge. And he really forces offenses to account for him, whether they're going to double team or whether they're going to be a max pro, because he has a hard time. Teams have a hard time just blocking him on the one-on-one. And so for him this year, he's really stepped it up because he wanted to prove to everybody, because he kind of got tagged with that label, he's just a pass rusher. So he really worked on his run defense and his gap control and really reading how the guards and everybody were pulling. And he's done an excellent job this year for us. You know, he's a juice guy, so he's always looking at certain things like how many sacks is he getting or how many pressures he's getting. But I think this year he's really matured, and he's starting to really find out that if a team is going to account 2 and 3 guys to block him, then that helps free up things for the rest of our defense to actually go in there and cause a little chaos.
Coach, with him as well, just looking at his stats for this season, it says he is 6th in the he has 6 sacks, which gets him to right now currently 12th in the state in that category. How special or how cool is it for you and your defensive coordinator, defensive staff?
I think it's good. Now, I will say, and I put a caveat on his stats, those will be updated tomorrow. We had Athian is my godson. And so this last weekend, I didn't have the chance to update our stats because he had a trip over to Eastern Washington for his official visit. And so by me being his guardian, me and my wife had to go up there, and we got the chance to tour the campus up there with Coach Sanders and Coach Best up there. And so he has a little more than 6 sacks. I think he's at 7.5 right now. But I look at it as like the quality of the sack as well. Like a lot of times he's fighting through 2 or 3 guys to get a quarterback. I think one of his best plays that he made this year wasn't even a sack. He was probably he had to go. He initially missed number one for Prescott, their quarterback. I think he's probably the most elusive quarterback in the state right now. And he had to run him down from 15 yards back, and he had a shoestring tackle on him, but he initially missed him at first. So the motor is there. I'm extremely proud of him, and I can't wait to see more things from him this season.
Coach, I had a chance to meet Atheon back in the early spring when he was out at the Signing Day Sports Combine, which unfortunately that day at Higley High School never actually got off the ground. But he seemed like a really special young man. You talk about his development in the run game and run defense. You see the great separation there with the hands. He's able to squeeze things down like you want. How much do you stress fundamentals there at Vista Grande, especially on defense?
We have to, because, and I want to say this correctly. We at Vista Grande for the last 3 years, we don't get a lot of kids that have played a ton of youth football. We don't have a junior high football system. We only have 2 different youth sports programs that do tackle football. And every year there's about 30 guys that get divided between me and Coach Luna due to where they live in the proximity of Casa Grande. So we have to develop out here. And so Atheon came out, and he had only played, before he had got here, he's only played 1 year of youth football in Kansas City, Missouri, when he was living with his mother. And so for him to come out, he has worked extremely hard with our defensive line coach, Coach Hawkins, who's really taken him under the wing. And then, for the last 2 years, he's kind of he's went to Coach Bertrand Berry to kind of polish the diamond. So a lot of the things that you're seeing that you didn't see probably before, I could attribute that to, his 2 coaches, and more so Coach Berry as far as with that finishing touch.
Your guys' offense has been putting up some pretty significant numbers, 12-7 against Coconino, Pueblo 53-zip, and then 26-24 close one against St. Joseph, and of course the Desert Sunrise win that we talked about a little bit earlier. With how you guys have been matching up in this 4A conference as a whole, it's you guys, it's your opponent, AZ College Prep, Prescott, Thunderbird, many top teams. How do you feel with how you guys have been playing so far this year? Where do you feel like with how your team is playing so far, how you level and match with the rest of the top teams in this 4A conference?
I think if people put a real critical eye and really observe it and don't put any bias into teams, I think they'll realize that the region that we are currently in with us, Arizona College Prep, Arcadia, Combs, who's done some remarkable things this year, that we might be the top division in 4A right now, the top region in 4A. I really believe that. Like, it's going to be a dogfight. And now if you look at, like, the majority of people were picking Yuma Catholic to beat ACP and for ACP to beat Yuma Catholic, and they were ranked to go to the state championship with Thunderbird. So I really feel like the entire region is playing good football, and I really believe that the entire 4A conference is wide open right now, that you could literally see anywhere between an undefeated team win the state championship all the way to an 8-2, maybe a 7-3 team if they get hot in the playoffs. It's that wide open because the margin between the teams is very, very small. It's the talent levels are very, very even right here. For once, I believe the AIA kind of got it right with the 4A conference. Now, you look at, a team like Mika Mountain and what they did last week to a good team like Castle Grand Union, like it's wide open. So I think any team 1 through 8, maybe 1 through 9 would have if they get hot, they could make a run and possibly win the state championship, and it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Atheon, we'd like to talk to you for a minute. If you could open up your microphone and your camera, if you're still there with us, wanted to talk to you about the importance of your coaching staff and what they've been able to do for you there at Vista Grande. Let's get you in here right quick. What has the coaching staff there at Vista Grande meant to you as a ball player, and how they helped you develop not only as a player but as a person as well?
So the coaching staff, man, it's very supportive at Vista Grande. Everybody, they have your back, on and off the field. Everybody, they just continue to strive for better. Like, we stay consistent at practices. It's not very much, playing or joking around. it gets loose. It gets lucid sometimes, but overall we're always locked in, and all the coaches always make sure. So they always keep us focused. Always keep us on task. I feel like we're making a lot of improvement like that, especially for the past 3 years. Like everybody's always just been kind of, we've just been locked in. That's I feel like that's one of the best parts about the coaches. Yeah. So.
And Nathan, just one more question for you. You're going up against a team that has scored 187 points in the last 4 weeks alone. With how impactful you are off the defensive line, being able to get to the quarterback, presumably extremely impressive. What, without giving away, of course, too much of your plan of how do you want to attack Arizona College Prep, how do you plan on being able to stop this offense and doing your part with a team that has been on a hot streak like they are right now?
Honestly, I feel like with this game, it's gonna come with a lot of team effort. It's obviously, we're gonna have to press the line. Use strength and moves and techniques against them. But I feel like in order to beat a team like this, it's gonna take a lot of team effort. Everybody has to be doing their assignments. Me on the line, I feel like my man, the person I'm up against, double teams. If it's just a one-on-one, just stay on the assignment and do what the coaches tell me. Just keep on, just stay consistent in doing what they're telling me, and just follow up with the game plan. I think everything is going to be okay.
Eighth on a roll, and Coach John Roberts joining us here from the Vista Grande Spartans. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to seeing you in 2 short days down there at your place, and we're excited for Thursday Night Kickoff on CW7 Arizona as you guys host the Arizona College Prep Nights. Thank you for your time, and we will see you very soon.
Thank you guys so much.
You too. Thank you guys too.
Absolutely. Stay with us. More of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan coming up after the break. We'll visit with a 6A clash between the Highland Hawks and the Red Mountain Mountain Lions. Stay with us.
Have you had the craving for the best burrito anywhere? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Burrito Express, your local burrito joint. Come on in.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Burrito Express.
With 7 Valley locations and a new South Chandler location opening soon, your new favorite burrito is just right around the corner. Burrito Express, a proud supporter of Thursday Night Kickoff on CW7 Arizona.
Coach Led here from Thunderbird. You're watching the Desert Gridiron Game Plan on Epic Sports Network.
We welcome you back to the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. Great to preview our Thursday night matchup between the Arizona College Prep Knights and the Vista Grande Spartans. Parker, it's going to be a fun one down there in Casa Grande on Thursday evening.
Yeah, I think from talking with both sides now, it seems both of them are very determined to get that 5th win as we're hitting that second half of the season mark. And both of these teams are going to go out swinging. I think these are 2 premier teams in the 4A conference that have the shot to make a deep run in the playoffs. So I'm very excited for that Thursday night matchup we got on CW7.
Another great matchup coming up this week features the Highland Hawks, who got a huge win last week against the Chandler Wolves. They'll square off against Coach Kyle Enders and the Red Mountain Mountain Lions. Joining us now, Coach Brock Farrell and Grady Crandall from the Highland Hawks. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on with us. We certainly appreciate it. Coach, great to see you again. Just break down the season for us so far. Obviously, congratulations on the big win last week. And just tell us what a win like that over a quality Chandler Wolves ball club does for your team.
It's been a great season so far, and I think beating a great program like Chandler, and especially, it's where I got started in Arizona. Still got a lot of friends on that team that are on the coaching staff. So personally, it was really fun because it's always fun when you play against your friends, and it's always fun when you win one against your friends. But to beat a team and a program like Chandler at home, it's the first time they had to play us at home. I think that was a really big statement win for us and really gave our kids the confidence that, we can make a run at this thing.
Coach, I broadcasted your school a couple of years ago when you were still, it seemed like coming up the ranks of the 6A, you weren't necessarily looked at, I'm sure, as now as this premier 6A open division team. But the fandom of home games at your guys' place is honestly probably, in my opinion, the best that the state has to offer, with how it seems like the community aspect and the school have really invested in this program. from your eyes and your perspective, how much has like the investment from the families and the fans and the administration of the school played a factor in the improvement of your team's roster and just the product overall on the field?
Yeah, sure. I think there's nothing like a Highland home game. I mean, our band is top notch. They might be the best band in the state. I mean, they're awesome. Our pom and cheer is amazing. I think our student section is the best student section in the state. Every week they got a different theme and they got all sorts of craziness going on. I think one time in my first year there, they started chanting my name or something. It was nuts. But then the buy-in from the community, like there's not a home game that's never sold out. We always play at a packed stadium. I think when teams have to come to the Hawks Nest, as we like to call it, a lot of times it's intimidating just from the start. And it's nothing that our football team does, because I jokingly joke around with Coach Lyons, our former DC, who's now the head coach at Eastmark, that we've lost every warm-up, but our student section and our fans, win it for us, so to speak. So there's nothing like a Highland home game, man.
Coach, we look forward to hopefully getting out there next season and having you guys on Thursday Night Kickoff. I was talking with Coach Crawford a little bit earlier. He said that would be a great idea, so maybe we can put that together. The first time I ever got out there to Highland High School was actually for a basketball game broadcast, and I was blown away by the student section and the fans. I mean, it was like an NCAA tournament game, so congratulations to the fan base there at Highland. We know they mean a lot to your Hawks football program. Tell us about your defense. We got Grande joining us here as well tonight. And tell us about this young man and how he helps improve that defense there for the Hawks.
Yeah, well, we're built on defense here at Highland. I like to say that even if we don't win, the other team loses because they have to spend the next 2 days in the training room because we're just so physical, especially on defense. And really our leader of our defense is Grady Crandall. He's only a junior, but he's a 2-year starter at free safety for us. Last year, he led all 6A in interceptions. This year, he's added not only a few interceptions, but he took one back to the house against Frontier when we went out to California. And he's added a lot more tackling and communication now. Really, we rely on him to help us get all of our coverage checks that we need, get everybody on the right page, get everybody playing fast to the ball. And, that's the key to how we win games. We just play solid, got to earn it defense. And Grady does a great job.
Coach, you guys held Centennial and Chandler to just 31 points offensively combined in those games. What has it been for you with this defense? Like, where does this juice come from? Of course, you just said the opposing team's got to go to the weight room after because we just play so physical. But being able to play a team that was the runner-up in the Open State Championship and beat them, and then play and beat just a top-tier program like Chandler the way you guys did, where has this defense clicked in ways that maybe other teams haven't in past years?
Well, I think, they just live up to the standard that we've set here at Highland. Like, really, when I got here in 2017, I knew that we needed to play elite level defense. And then our offense will just kind of figure it out and we'll score, we'll hold them to 3 and find a way to score 4 or something like that. But, I'm just going to add that we actually gave up one less touchdown because one of Chandler's touchdowns was a defense scoop and score. So our defense played even better than that, right? So our defense
That's my bad. I'm sorry. I did the math really quick.
So anyway, our defense is so stingy and they're so physical. But we've really been doing that for the last, I would say, really all my 8 years, but I think the last 5, we've really just been one of the most physical and yet one of the most sophisticated defenses that causes just problems for people. It's hard to diagnose. It's hard to figure out what's going on. And then we just get guys to the ball. And, this year's group has met and even maybe, set their own standard this year so far. And it's been great.
Grady, I wanted to ask you, how much fun is it to play defense there for the Highland Hawks, and what does it mean to you being only a junior and really being one of the leaders on defense there for Highland?
It's a good time being back there for Highland. All the defense, especially like the DBs, we're all like really close friends, like on and off the field. We communicate really well. It's just a fun time to be around them. And at the end of the day, I trust them. I trust them to do their job. And that's what really makes the Highland defense really good, is just everybody just trusting each other. And we just know that we're going to do the job right.
Grady, what has been kind of the standout thing for you regarding this defense and just the way you guys have prepared? Your coach seems to speak very highly of you and the rest of the guys that you got there. But what's kind of been what's been the difference from years past that you've been on with Highland as far as preparation and just the mentality you guys go out and play with?
I think Highland's preparation before any game outmatches anyone in the state. We do a ton of meetings on Monday just to get the install in, and then Tuesday and Wednesday we like to call them our work days. We get after it in practice, whether it be through team periods or just go through special teams. And we know a lot of teams in the state don't focus on special teams as much as Coach Farrell does. And we just like to get after in the team periods. We're hitting, we're having fun too, which is just makes you want to fly around a little bit more and just hit someone. And it's just a lot of fun just to be out there with some of the guys.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, it's become a lot more popular over the past few seasons for Arizona teams and a lot of teams around the nation, honestly, to play out-of-state opponents. When you get that opportunity, what does that mean to you, and how do your guys embrace that sort of challenge, whether it be hosting a team from out of state or like you guys just recently did, traveling out of state to play another team?
Yeah, well, like you said, the high-level programs that are trying to vie for open spots and win a state championship, they always play out of state. They either challenge themselves with an out-of-state opponent coming in, or they travel. The other half of that is, I think, traveling and having to go stay in a hotel and get on a bus, and really you only focus on football for like 48 hours. It really bonds our team together. For example, this last trip we went out and played a team in California, but we played on a Saturday, so we were actually able to go to a Santa Margarita versus Oaks Christian high school football game on Friday night and see some high-level football from Santa Margarita and Oaks Christian. And we were kind of the Oaks Christian student section, and the boys had a great time. But, it brought a lot of joy and a lot of camaraderie to our team. So the trip, I think, bonds your team in a way that you can't do any other way. But also it challenges your team because you got to play somebody who also is going to be good, because only high level teams are looking to play another team that's not in their state. The first two times we did it, we challenged ourselves and tried to go play Lone Peak. And for some reason, Lone Peak must have some sort of like magic spell on our offense, because we couldn't do anything both times. But this last time we put it together against Frontier, a very talented team out of Bakersfield. And quite honestly, it was nice to have to go play in California where the weather was like 72 at kickoff instead of 110. So that was really nice too.
I'm sure that was a lot nicer than what we've been dealing with these last couple of weeks here in Arizona. Coach, just my last question for you, looking ahead to not just your upcoming match against Red Mountain, but the rest of your schedule. Why can this Highland team this year make a run at the Open Division State Championship?
I think we've grown a lot and we've matured a lot starting from week 1 until now. So that gives us a chance. I think we have enough kids who are talented in enough places and who are taking on leadership roles. I think of guys like Kalen Fisher, our 3-year starter at quarterback, Hayden Doherty, Gavin Priest. They're both of our tight ends. I think of guys like Grady Crandall. And then on defense, senior returning starters like Rhett Yetter, Cade Cullimore, all those guys, they have seen what it takes to have championship habits, and we're doing those better and better. So I believe we have enough talent. I believe we play physical enough that if we play our best football, we can compete with anybody. But I always tell the guys, like, we can get real average real fast if we get complacent. So if we play our best football, I believe we can do it. But if we don't play our best football, anybody can beat us. And that's why you got to love teenagers and high school football, man.
Coach, tell us a little bit about your other coaching staff that you have there at Highland. We know it's a team effort, especially when it comes to coaching on that side of the football, and they do a lot of things that often go unnoticed. Just tell us about those guys here in the last 2 minutes we have with you.
Well, I think we'll start with, we had to replace Jason Lyons. He, like I said earlier, he became the head coach at Eastmark High School. And I encouraged him to do that. I thought it was time, and he, has shown lots of great leadership qualities, and I'm super happy for him. So anyway, we had to replace him, and you don't replace a Jason Lyons. You adapt and bring on someone new, and he's got to be his own man. And Jacob Rudder has been that guy. So Jacob Rudder's our new defensive coordinator, and he put his own spin on our defense. Luckily, he was with us for the 2 years that we went to that we won the state title, 6A titles in 01 and 02. So he's been with us. He's been on our staff. He understands what our defense is. He had a 1-year sabbatical at ACP, and then I convinced him to come back. But he's been doing great. And like I said, he puts his own spin on what our defense is, but he's made it his own. His preparation has been amazing. I feel like we picked up right where we left off in terms of challenging our guys to be able to do multiple things on defense to stop people. And then, in all honesty, we've had a bunch of assistant coaches that have been with me for a long, long time. The longest is our DB's coach. We call him D-Lo. D'Angelo Dunbar. And he brings the energy every week, man. He gets our guys fired up, and, he does it in a way that I can't, and it's awesome. I love it. And then we've had some guys that haven't been with me all 8 years, but like 6 or 7, especially on defense. We got, guys like Dominic Willis and Coach Judge, who was a former Auburn linebacker, and his job is to fire everybody up pregame speech. Right when you do punt and then you meet under the goalpost. He gets everybody like juiced, ready to go. Offensively, I've got some guys that have been with me for a long time. Our quarterbacks coach Bo Riley, our wide receivers coach Sam Johnson. Actually, Sam was with me when I was a freshman coach at Chandler. But we've also got some great coaches that have been former head coaches like Abraham Johnson. And I love having former head coaches on our staff because they bring a lot of wisdom and ideas to the game every week. And, of course, we can't forget OG Fair. He's our O-line coach. But Terry Fair has been at Highland since it opened. And I couldn't do it without Terry and Bill Critchfield. They're our offensive line coaches. And I think they're the best in the state because every year, man, we have physical offensive linemen that push people and we can run the ball. And they do it year in and year out, whether we have guys like Caleb Lomu, who's playing at Utah right now, or, we got guys like Jace Heaps, who was like 5'9", 200 pounds soaking wet, but just got him to be an animal. So our old line coaches are just great. I know I'm forgetting more, but we got about 13 coaches, and one of them's Austin McNamara's dad, who coaches our kickers. It's like we're specialists to you over here. We keep putting long snappers and kickers in the college, but it makes a difference, helps us win games. So yeah, all these guys put in time, put in effort, and they expect a lot of our players. And it's been a great challenge for our coaches to challenge our players to play at a high level.
Coach Brock Farrell and Grady Crandall joining us here from the Highland Hawks. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Always great to see you. Good luck on Friday night. It should be a great game out there at Red Mountain High School, and we will definitely be tuning in. Good luck the rest of the way as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Stay with us here. More on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. We will visit with the Red Mountain Lions when we return.
Have you had the craving for the best burrito anywhere? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Burrito Express, your local burrito joint. Come on in.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Burrito Express.
With 7 Valley locations and a new South Chandler location opening soon, your new favorite burrito is just right around the corner. Burrito Express, a proud supporter of Thursday Night Kickoff on CW7 Arizona.
We welcome you back on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. Parker, always great to visit with the Highland Hawks. And you mentioned the atmosphere out there in Gilbert. It is quite a sight to see a football game there at Highland High School.
Yeah, it was back for me in the 2021-22 season. I know I did 2 games. One was Basha, and I completely forgot the other one. But it was definitely the most intense high school environment I've been in. I know my former high school, Liberty, has a pretty good one out there in Peoria. But I was, having been only to Highland those handful of times, I was completely shocked at just the investment and the passion that, the Highland Hawk fans have out there in Gilbert.
Another great atmosphere resides just off of Power and Brown Road out in East Mesa at the Red Mountain Lions home there at Jim Jones Field. Coach Kyle Enders and Jacob Redwing joining us here on the program. Kyle, great to see you again, my friend. Tell us about the early part of your season. You guys are balling out so far, but we all know there's a lot more football still to be played, and you guys have a big one on Friday night as you host those Highland Hawks.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We got you.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. No, so far so good. I mean, to be 5-0, we're excited. The season's been rolling. Yeah, the kids have been playing up to the standard, and coaching staff's been putting kids in the right position, and we're just excited just to take it week to week and keep going forward.
Coach, I feel like, maybe not in your guys' eyes, but with a lot of people's eyes, last season, you guys kind of shocked everyone during the playoffs when you guys beat Pinnacle and Brophy. It seems like whatever you guys found with the guys you have coming back for this year, it seems to have turned over to this season in the first 5 weeks being 5-0. What's been kind of the things that have stuck out to you that have stuck from last season that have trickled in to the first 5 weeks of your guys' year?
Yeah, I mean, for us that are there every day putting in the work, it wasn't really surprising to us to make that run. I mean, I know when you look at it, we're a 12 seed, but it's the same stuff we've been doing at Red Mountain probably since I've been playing there. We pride ourselves on being disciplined, being a physical football team. We put a lot of stock in breaking down film and setting, doing a lot of stuff schematically, and our kids buy into it. We pride ourselves on having a good culture, and that stuff really showed kind of to everybody on the outside when we lost 5 in a row last year and we stuck together and made that run. But that carried over. I mean, a lot of the juniors like Jacob Redwing and a lot of the guys that we're relying on as senior leaderships now, they kind of seen that last year and seen that if you stick together and trust the process that good things come from it.
Coach, we know about the outstanding tradition of defense there at Red Mountain High School. You brought along one of your defensive backs here tonight, Jacob Redwing. Talk to us about this young man's play and what it means to play defense, being a former defensive player there yourself at Red Mountain, what it means to the Mountain Lions to play really staunch defense.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak high enough about Jacob. This year we moved him back to safety. We've kind of changed a few things up with our structure, and we felt like that was a better fit for him. And I mean, he could play anywhere on the field. There's not a position he can't play, but just showing these clips and seeing some of the plays that he's made, I mean, he literally could do everything. He'll have sacks, hit a sack last week, tackles for loss, interceptions for touchdowns. He understands our defense. He's a tough kid. He's a leader. He does everything right on and off the field. Like I said, I mean, just him making the move, kind of going, to the third level of our defense, and what he's done has been huge and very valuable to our team. And like I said, it's more than just what the film's going to show. It's all the stuff in the weight room and all the work he puts in the off season, and every day he's there, just being that leader for our team.
Jacob, for you, your guys' defense has been on full display this year. Only allowing 10 points to Mesa, 6 points to Valley Vista, 7 points to Desert Ridge. Of course, these last 2 weeks against Downey and Williamsfield have been a bit of a different story, allowing 32 and 28. But just talk to me about kind of your guys' mentality with how you guys play defense. You seem to go full aggression in these first 5 weeks, honestly, and been a vocal point in how you guys have won. But just kind of give us your thoughts on what this defense has been like for you this season.
Yeah, I guess one word I would just describe us as is scrappy. I mentioned it in a podcast earlier this year. And I guess we just kind of enjoy being out there. Like most of those boys out there on the defense I hang out with every weekend, and that's a definitely tight-knit group along with our whole team, but that group's really tight. And our mindset's really just, there's not someone that's going to line up on the other side of the ball that's going to run us over. You look on max preps, we're not going to be the biggest, we're not going to be the tallest, but we're going to roll down, we're going to hit. So
Jacob, we all know that wearing that number 27 there at Red Mountain High School carries a lot of weight. That was formerly worn by a great player in Skylar Edmonds. He was a senior when you were a freshman. What kind of things do you take from the older players that have come before you and try to impart into your game?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of kind of the identity I wanted to take when I, started as a freshman. I got to play up at varsity my freshman year towards the end of the year, but I kind of just idolize those dudes. Skylar, obviously, I wear his number. Parker, watching Champ leave last year, those guys were huge to me because they showed me that I could really do anything. They showed me how to really play Red Mountain defense, and it's a whole personality. So,
Coach, another guy I would love to bring up in this with talking about guys from the past, Jacoby Lane, I know was a huge staple for you guys for years. He's now looking like a premier wide receiver one on a Big Ten team right now at USC. With the skill guys at the receiver position that you have right now, what are some things that maybe Jacoby did as far as game prep, on-field play that you're trying to instill and talk to your guys that you have on the roster right now about?
Yeah, no, Jacoby, everything that he's doing at the high level that he is isn't really surprising to any of us. He made those plays. You saw him in high school, and he is a genetic freak and can do things that you can't coach. And it's showing. It's awesome to see him do that on Saturdays on the big stage. As far as, things that, like you said, younger kids have looked up to is something Jacoby kind of took on his senior year that we kind of really made it clear that he needed to, was to become, the team guy and do the small things, blocking. He'd take on role, thinking of us playing Highland. He played a Wildcat role one time that we played him. He had to take on different roles of sometimes being a decoy and things like that and really putting the team before himself. And he really did a good job of that his senior year. And I think that was instilled in some of the guys that we have now. We have a great receiving core. Bodie Wagner's the first one that stands out. He's been doing it for 3 years, and he was alongside Jacoby for one of those years. And, just seeing somebody with Jacoby's gifts that he has do some of those small things, I think Bodie can kind of, it shows in his game too.
Coach, staying on the offensive side of the football, tell us about your quarterback, Simon Lopez, and his development over the past couple seasons. He's really playing well.
Yeah, being a defensive guy, you think all the time, what's going to put you in binds. I would not want to play our offense, I'll tell you that much. We do a lot, and it always, it's all around Simon Lopez. And he had a huge year last year, and he's just gotten better. You're not completing over 80% of your passes. I think I said it one time, if we were out if I was playing quarterback on a 10U team, I couldn't complete the balls that he's completing. He's super efficient. He does it with his legs, his arms. He hasn't thrown an interception. He's a leader. He's very poised. He does everything you'd want to in a quarterback, and the sky's the limits for him. He continues every week to show a new wrinkle of his game, and I'm just super proud of what he's done so far. And this is just a start. Of a long season ahead of us, and we hope that continues. And like I said, it starts with between the years, he's really become a student of the game and is leading our offense in a direction where we're putting up huge numbers in lots of different ways, not just throwing it, not just him running it. Just in a variety of ways. And again, it all stems around him.
Coach, one last question for me. As you welcome in Highland, who is a premier 6A team just like you guys this year, what can we expect from your guys' team? Of course, without giving away too much of the game plan. Of course, we wouldn't want to do that here. But what can you tell us as far as what can we expect from you and your roster come Thursday night?
I think it's what you see every week from us in the last couple of years. We're going to be a tough football team physically. We're going to give people lots of different looks on both sides of the ball. They're a well-coached football team. They're really good. They've had our number. Our kids are hungry for this one. Not that we ever have to get them motivated for a game, but there's a little extra when a lot of these kids, I don't know if Red Wing has beaten them. They've knocked us out of the semifinals. One year they beat us twice in a year. Like I said, it's going to take 4 quarters, and we're going to have to play disciplined football and be, we'll bring like we do every week, and we're excited for the matchup.
Coach, final question for you. I know you got some longtime coaches there at Red Mountain. Coach Lawson, Coach Garces. Tell us about some of your coaching staff and some guys that have put in a whole lot of time there on Jim Jones Field.
Yeah, man, we got guys that have been with me since they've been around Red Mountain football since I've been there. I think dating back to like the 2012 with Coach Barge. He does our special teams. He does tons of stuff behind the scenes for me. Breaks down a lot of stuff defensively. We talk a lot on the weekends. He's a lot of the brains behind the operation. Helps a lot in the weight room, our strength and conditioning program. I know Coach Runge's been part of our JV program, and now that our JV and varsity, he does our back end. He's been around all that entire time. And then our offensive staff, Brian McDaniel, he took over. I hired him when I took over as a head coach, as an offensive coordinator. I don't think there's a better offensive coordinator in the state of Arizona. I would hate to prepare for him. He does it. He knows how to motivate kids. He puts people in positions. He's a football junkie. And then his entire staff, from our O-line, we have Coach Thomas, and then our new coach, Kevin Duarte. We have Diego Hernandez, who's an alumni, coaching wide receivers. And again, a lot of guys do double duty. They coach JV also, so he's a receivers coach, but an offensive coordinator. The list goes on and on. Sean Reed, he does running backs. He's been with McDaniel since their days, I think, at Skyline back when we coached against them. We got Matty Purnell now working with the quarterbacks. He does a good job, relates to the kids, helping them learn the offense. And then defensively on my side, Coach Fall, Matt Kelly is back. Coach Kelly was with me for a long time, and then his kids went off and played some college ball, and so he kind of stepped away. So having him back's been really good. George Pinero, JP, equipment manager, alumni at our school. A lot of guys have a lot of ties in Red Mountain and been around for a long time. It's bigger than just our football program, and I think our kids see that. We're a tight-knit group. We all, get along and work together on and off the field. We're friends. Our families are close. Our kids are close. And the community and the school means a lot to all of us, not just the football program. I think that's our kids too, and I think that helps our culture in a lot of ways. We got Coach Diaz, who works with the kickers. Like I said, we have a big coaching staff, but a lot of them play a lot of hats. This is JV and varsity, and they bust their butt. And I'm just thankful to be a part of a program like this and lead a program with the coaching staff of this level.
JP, I think you're muted.
Together is the mantra out there at Red Mountain High School. There's no doubt about that, and certainly miss seeing you guys on a weekly basis there for a number of years. Some special times I had out there at Red Mountain High School. Thank you so much for coming on the show here with us tonight. We appreciate it. Good luck on Thursday night, and it's going to be interesting having a little bit of a short week, but no doubt you guys will be able to adapt to that without any issues. Thank you for coming on with us, Coach, and Jacob Red Wing, we certainly appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Jacob Red Wing and Kyle Enders, head coach of the Red Mountain Lions, joining us here on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. Another jam-packed show, Parker, and some great football coming up this week. I saw earlier today 18 games on Thursday night alone. I think Thursday night might be the biggest night of the week this week in Arizona high school football.
Yeah, I think so. I think, we got a great game in that 4A conference and 4A region, and there's a lot of games happening now on Thursday nights this season. But it shows, I think, just to the competitiveness that we got, but also just the wide variety, trying to split these games up and not have it so jam-packed on a Friday night. But yeah, 4 great teams tonight, very well-coached teams, high-powered offenses, and really gritty, grindy defenses. So I'm excited to see what all 4 of these teams can do this week for sure.
It will be an exciting Thursday, no doubt. We'll be on the air on Arizona CW7 at 6:30 p.m. this coming Thursday night, and this just in, now available on YouTube TV. So if you got YouTube TV, check us out there. We'll be on the air at 6:30 p.m. for the pregame show. Ed, Parker, and I will be on there, and the kickoff is set for 7 p.m. at Vista Grande High School between the Spartans and the Arizona College Prep Knights. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your viewership. We'll be back with you next Tuesday for another edition of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. Have a great night, folks.